Elvin done got on the call and disrupted everything. I tell
Look
you.
at you. See?
William, help me clear the waiting room, please, sir.
I clicked admit all for everybody.
Okay. It's good to see that Jamal has joined us or rejoined us. It's been a long time, and we appreciate him. Y'all, we're going to go ahead and get started. We had a very interesting discussion last week, and it was based on a question that was submitted by Chris. And Chris is way up there somewhere. Where did Chris say he's from? Somebody?
I think he's in Georgia, maybe close to Atlanta. Not unless he's moved.
Okay, well, here, we can ask him. He's about to get on. He's late. He better have donuts, too. So Chris, hurry up and connect. Come in late on his question again. But at any rate, y'all, Chris had this topic that he wanted to discuss, and I'm going to go ahead and put the questions or his topic on the screen. But before I do, y'all, let me just tell you that I have a poll that I would like for you all to complete for me. So I'm going to go ahead and open the poll up. And if you all could, go ahead and start answering that poll for me.
Can you make me not the co-host so I can do the poll?
Oh, okay. There you go. All right, if you all would go ahead and do the poll, I'll then show you all the Chris's topic. It's only 5 questions, 5 statements or whatever. Yeah, 5 questions. Only one person has the courage to do the poll. 2 people. While y'all doing that, I'm gonna give me some water. Okay, so looks like 5 people so far. Y'all are catching up. 9 people so far.
So brother Badley, hey, how you doing?
Oh my gosh, hold on, y'all. Stop the presses. Celeste is back with us.
I couldn't do the poll because I've never dated anybody in the church. So some of those questions was mandatory, so I had to close it.
No, it's not mandatory.
Yeah, it won't let you do submit unless you answer all of them.
Okay,
and the
well,
last 2 I couldn't answer.
Okay, well, answer no to those or whatever. Okay, but at any rate, y'all, hold on, y'all. I got to go in the backyard and get the fatted calf because it's time to, our prodigal daughter has come back home. Anyway, so I appreciate. Oh no, wait, y'all. Y'all not gonna believe this. Y'all are not gonna believe this. Guess who else? The other prodigal daughter that's coming back. Y'all see this? Celeste is back. Wow. Okay, so if you all would go ahead and for those of you that just joined, please complete the poll. We'll come back to that here in a minute. So let me show you all what Chris had for a topic. I'm picking up some extra noise. Let me mute. I'm gonna mute. Okay, it looks like it was Elvin. I should have known the new guy's causing all the trouble. Elvin, just bear with me, man. I'm crazy. I like to start everything by saying I'm crazy. But anyway, here's what Chris had. 1 Peter 3, 1-8. Is Peter addressing a saved sister married to a non-Christian, verse 1, or a saved sister married to a saved brother, verse 1? How can a sister's mannerism change a man's disposition toward herself and God? How can a person be heirs together with a non-believer, verse 7? What is meant by a weaker vessel, verse 7? And then 2 Corinthians 6:14, be not unequally yoked with unbelievers. Okay, y'all. So those were his questions. We answered A, B, and C last week, but y'all, I wanted to, and you know what, I think what I want to do is, I think instead of rehashing that on this call, I think what I'll do is I will post it up on the, so that you all can see the video next week. I'll go ahead and post that up so you all can see the video from last week, so we don't have to rehash for those who were on. All right. But we were talking, and y'all, I will, as a brief rehash, I so appreciated the discussion on the idea of this individual has potential. Y'all recall that. And in fact, as you all saw on the poll, that's where the majority of the questions came from. So real quick, let's look at the answers to the poll, and let's see what we got. So the first one says, have you ever dated someone who had the potential to be your spouse? Okay, 93% of you said yes, and only one of you, 7%, said no. Now, you know what I find interesting is that poll support what you all said last week. Remember, I said that a man told me one time, all potential means is you ain't done it yet, right? And what you all said last week was potential doesn't work. You all proved the fact that potential doesn't work. Otherwise, you wouldn't be on this call, right? Have you ever dated someone in the church who had the potential to be your spouse? 64% of you said yes. 36% said no. So that's interesting as well. Have you ever dated someone in the church but found that you all were unequally yoked? Oh, wow, look at this. Almost 80%, 79% said yes. 21% said no. We're probably gonna come back to that question. What was it that led you to believe that you were unequally yoked? 29% said their lack of commitment, attendance, involvement, etc. 43% said their lifestyle. Interesting. 21% said their hypocrisy. Wow. Which is closely related to their lifestyle, obviously, right? And then 7% said their judgmental attitude. And then finally, number 5, have you ever had someone tell you that one or more of the reasons in the last question was the reason that they ended the relationship? 29% of you said yes. That's honest. I appreciate that. 71% said no. Okay. So feel free to unmute so we can talk about this poll and take off on whichever one y'all want to discuss. So go ahead and unmute and let's talk.
Can you put the poll, the questions back up?
Can you all not see the poll on the screen?
Yeah,
No?
I see it.
Oh, who says they see it?
I see the First Peter 2:1. That's all I see.
Yes, that's
Oh,
not
okay.
a poll.
Okay, let me see if I can share the, hold on a second. Stop share screen. Bam. Okay, how about now?
Nope.
Y'all can y'all see the poll now?
No,
Damn
I
it.
can't.
Okay, let me see how to do this. Stop share. Oh, hold on a second. Tab. Okay, I am going to. Escape. Okay, y'all bear with me. I'm coming back. Okay, can you all see the poll now? Hello?
They're like droplets of paint right now.
Colors,
Okay,
the
let me,
paint.
okay, so, Alicia, do you know how to share the poll?
I don't know if you should have took a print screen of it. I don't know. That would be the only thing I can think of.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me see. Polls. I don't want to end the poll.
Should be an option to push out the results.
Okay, let me see. Polls. I forgot Jamal was our technical guru. Attendees are now viewing questions. Okay, I'm not having fun with this. Okay, so that's okay. I'll just read them again. Okay. Have you ever dated someone who had the potential to be your spouse? 93% of you said yes. 7% said no. Have you ever dated someone in the church who had the potential to be your spouse? 64 said yes. 36 said no. Have you ever dated someone in the church but found that you all were unequally yoked? 79% said yes. 21% said no. What was it that led you to believe that you were unequally yoked? 29% said their lack of commitment, that is attendance, involvement, etc. 43% said their lifestyle. 21% said their hypocrisy. And then 7% said their judgmental attitude. And then have you ever had someone tell you that one or more of the reasons in the last question was the reason that they ended the relationship? 29% of you said yes. 71% said no. So I'll be more than happy to, hold on a second. Control. Okay. Anybody want to go ahead and start talking while I try something? Hello?
The first question, the results from it didn't surprise me that the overwhelming majority of people of us have dated someone who had the potential to be a spouse. I think it probably speaks to the fact that we don't look at a relationship as something that we're just wasting time doing. And I hope that we all go into relationships knowing that it could lead to marriage. So otherwise, there's really no point in going into it, in my opinion.
Okay, somebody want to speak to that?
Yeah. I would say I don't agree with the premise that a person with potential is not a good candidate. For example, if you are dating someone and they're in between jobs, they lost a job, and they have the educational background, to me, that individual have potential and is a good candidate. The same thing with dating. Let's say if you dated someone that's not a member of the Lord's church, but they're attentive, they're listening, and you can have a decent Bible study with them, I would say that person has potential and is a good candidate. So my view on potential is a little different than what the group shared on last week.
Okay. Okay, bear with me 1 second. I'm gonna come back to that. I'm gonna share this screen now. Can you all see the poll now? You can see the poll now, right? Okay.
I see it.
All right, very good. Now let me get back to you all so I can see y'all. Okay, there we go. All right. So if any of y'all need it blown up a little bit, there we go. So Chris, you were saying that your view of potential is you don't agree with what was said last week. Speak to us.
Well, basically, I think everybody was saying that potential is not good enough. And I think that some people that has potential, they're a good candidate. So, for instance, the example I gave, a person who in between jobs may have lost a job but have the educational credential to find another job, they're definitely a good potential. A person that you dating outside of the body, but they're listening, and you can have a wholesome Bible study with them, they definitely have potential.
Okay. Yeah. But Chris, I think if I recall from last week, and you all tell me if I'm wrong, I think what the group was saying was it's been their experience that what they initially viewed as potential proved otherwise. The group, y'all talk to me.
I agree with that, Brother Bradley, or what we talked about last week. Chris's example is kind of two different degrees, because if someone is in between jobs, but they have the degree and the capability to get another job, they have the potential, that's one thing. But if you have someone that is not a member of the church, but they attend, and you can have a good conversation with them about the Lord and things like that, it goes back to what you said last week. They have potential, but they're not there yet. So are you still going to marry them?
Okay.
Even though you can have a biblical scriptural conversation with them. So I think that's kind of two ends of the spectrum, the examples he gave.
Okay. Somebody else wanna chime in or give your thoughts? I pretty much muted everybody because I was picking up some background noise. So unmute if you want to say something. Hold on, let me get y'all hold on. So quiet I can hear a rat. Shut up, rat. Oh, I hate I got him started. Oh, gotta put him in the drawer. Oh, now I put him in the drawer. He stopped. He don't want to get closed up in the drawer. Okay. Yeah. All right. So, all right. But here's the deal. Based on what I remember from last week, if you are dating someone and they have potential, here's what I heard the majority of folks say. At the point at which you realize that all it is potential, and that they don't appear to be moving from potential to there, is when you all decide, okay, I got to move on. Does that?
Yes.
Okay. So Chris, how do you speak to that, sir? Where'd Chris go?
I'm still here. I had to, actually, I have another meeting in a few minutes, and I had to get this tie on, but I agree with that. You know, you can only go with potential for so long, and definitely with potential, with an unbeliever, I definitely wouldn't move forward until they become a Christian. That's me personally. I would try to influence other people with my thoughts on that, but I wouldn't. But I agree with that.
Okay. All right. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that I was representing the sentiments from last week. So Chris, you're going to be dropping off. Is that what I understand? Shortly?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, unless someone shares something very personal, I will also post this one up for you all to review next week, Chris.
All
okay.
Right. Thanks.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So any other y'all want me to scroll down this this poll so y'all can answer or speak to?
Hey, James, the only thing that I would add to the potential question is that potential, by definition, from my perspective, wouldn't be just the fact that they can have a understanding or belief in God. Potential to me would be someone that has the uh, evidence that they are in love with God, that they are looking for God to be their Lord, that they are looking to God for answers, not just able to sing a song, able to pray a prayer,
Hmm.
able to, read a scripture. That right there, to see some level of that. I mean, I know it's not going to be fully developed because, of course, we're talking about somebody that hasn't even reached babe status yet. But that zeal, we see a lot of people that are not Christians that have that zeal for God, but not according to knowledge. Some things like that you can't identify. So part of my potential vetting would be that, because it has to be God that keeps them and not me.
Okay. Okay. That's an interesting and powerful perspective. However, let me make sure that I don't misrepresent, because last week we weren't just talking about the potential to become a Christian. We were talking about the potential to be a spouse. Am I right, group?
And I'm talking about spouse. I'm talking about spouse.
Right, but okay, but what I'm talking about and what I'm trying to communicate is we didn't just limit our discussion to whether or not they were Christians or not. We're going to get to that here very, very shortly. We were talking about the potential based on your requirements for, marriage. Okay, let me see what Chase has to say. Go ahead, Chase.
I would just add that I think that everybody sees potential first. So, I mean, you're not looking, I mean, you see, of course, looks, whatever, catches your eye, but once you're talking to them, you're listening for the potential of them being somebody in your life. So, or, I mean, being a Christian or being whatever, whatever fits what you're looking for. So I think the word potential should encompass just the idea, once you talk to somebody, whether they have that potential to be anybody. And after you talk to them long enough, that either grows or it gets lessened. I mean, it's one or the other happens once you're involved with knowing who they are. I mean, just like a friendship. Like if you hang out with somebody, oh, they cool. The first time you meet them, like, yeah, they cool. I can, rock with them or whatever. And then maybe the third encounter, you like, whoa, no, I can't, we ain't going in the same direction, so I can't do this. Or, this is a person that I'll just check on. However you put them in that compartment. But that I think that the word potential is just saying, are you somebody I can rock with, marriage, if they're in Christ, if they're a friend, whatever they are to you. So that's just my perspective on the word potential.
Yeah. And I think that was basically the sentiment from last week. So Chase, you hit it, I think exactly where we were last week. It was just amazing to me. And I think Danielle was one who really kind of framed it for us, who basically said, the younger me, if I recall, Danielle, you correct me if I'm wrong, but Danielle said the younger me might rock with them, even if they at some point prove that they didn't have potential. But the new me says, the minute I realize you ain't going there, you're not trying to get there. And again, we're not talking about Christian. We're talking about on a broader level. Danielle, am I communicating correctly?
Yeah, that's correct. If I remember what I said actually last week, is that after I wasn't really getting the results and didn't really see the progress that I was expecting, unfortunately, I stayed too long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the gist of last week, and it was just I found it refreshing. Let me tell you another reason I found it refreshing, y'all, is because y'all know, for those of you that have been on the call for 4 years or more, we've talked in length about this idea of dating, and we defined dating. We came up with our definition, and the consensus, well, in my mind, let me just put it that way. I can't speak for everybody, but in my opinion, if you're not dating to marry, you are just fulfilling your desires, right? And what I found refreshing was it seemed to me like last week, the discussion incorporated that mentality into it. Marlika, do you agree with what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying?
I understand. I fully agree.
Yeah, it was refreshing to hear the group basically communicating that, hey, we're serious about this thing, and we're not just out there just hanging out trying to hook up, because you do know that in our day and time, dating according to society is synonymous with hooking up, and y'all know what I mean when I say hooking up, not hooking up, hooking up. Anybody want to speak to that? Okay, I guess we covered that well. All right, so Elvin, did you have something to say?
I was going to say something. I was just going to add it into what you said. Yeah, I think nowadays dating is much different than when I was a lot younger, because I'm a widower right now, and my wife passed away about 3 years ago, and I was only 21 when I married. So wow. I was married 32 years. So I was married longer than I was a single person. So all I know is being with a spouse or being, not dating. So right now, since I'm single and right now I'm also engaged to a woman who is not a member of the church. That's what kind of led me to this whole, Zoom call, and to find out, because I have two brothers and a sister who married people. They're members of the church, but they married people who was not members of the church. Mm-hmm. They did convert them while they were married.
Right.
All three. So that's what, when I was never a person to do that, I always thought that, or felt that I wanted to marry somebody that was in the church first. And I did that in my first marriage, my first and only marriage. Like I said, married 32 years, but we were both unequally yoked, being in the church. So basically what I'm trying to say is, being a person that married, looking for somebody in the church, doesn't automatically mean that you're going to be equally yoked. That's just a kind of, I guess, a play on words, because a person that can be in the church cannot really be in the church or be in Christ. They could just be there as a member, or, somebody who's just coming there attending. But the lifestyle, their way of life, all that could be different. Yeah. So I guess I'm saying all that to say, I'm trying to decipher if, I believe we are equally yoked, but there are some things that I'm wanting to, I guess, continue to get understanding about, because I'm not wanting to try to rush into something or anything. But like I said, this conversation is good. And that's why I'm really here tonight, to try to gain some more information.
Wow, Elvin, thank you for sharing. And sorry for your loss as well. And 32 years, man, that I applaud you. And Elvin, that is exactly where I was. That is exactly where we sort of ended up last week, if you all recall, group. We said you can be with someone in the church. You can be dating someone in the church, but you may not be equally yoked. So that's what we said. It's deeper.
Right.
It's a deeper understanding that we need to make sure we get, because that's exactly what you can find yourself in, even though, and it's no different. Y'all tell me. Those of you on this call, you've dated some folks in the church, and I bet you probably had better relationships with folks out there in the world. Hello, somebody speak to that for me. Somebody speak to that. Look at all the hair. Y'all see all these folks bobbing? Come on, Yolanda, talk to me right here. You and Marlika.
It's sad to say, but yes. um, I had better experiences with those outside of the church. And I don't know if it's this stipulation, like we have to move and act a certain way as Christians. I don't know. It's, yeah, I don't know how to explain that one.
Okay, now speak to what you were just saying. What are you saying about these stipulations?
It's the ones I've dated in the church have this like preconceived thing. I don't know. I don't. Yeah, I'm thinking as I'm talking. So this.
Do y'all see she's perplexed? Oh my Lord.
I think I've never, Brother Bradley, I've never dated anyone in the church, but I do have a couple of girlfriends who one was married and unfortunately her husband passed several years ago. And she just shared with me that her experience with dating brothers in the church that, unfortunately they were horrible. But I think you have to look at it from two different lenses, right? Sometimes you just get fraudulent people. They're just counterfeits, regardless, right? That's just who that they are, unfortunately, as a person. And I think sometimes we have certain expectations just because somebody is the member of the church, right? That they are going to be a certain way. But
Yeah.
being a member of the church doesn't necessarily qualify you. It is the character of that individual is what I have had to start looking at. And you have to, when you're dating someone that is not a member of the church, right? You have to go into it in the mindset, am I pursuing the relationship or am I concerned about that person's soul? That's just been my personal experience because for me, I've always jumped into the relationship. We weren't equally, we were unequally yoked. And so I just created an unfortunate situation for myself. So I just really tried to look at it differently and not discount somebody now at this age that if they're not a member of the church, that doesn't disqualify you. But you also have to be careful because there are just so many layers when it comes to, dating with intention and pursuing, and you're talking about a future spouse. There's so many things that you have to be mindful of and take into consideration.
Wow. You know what, Danielle? I love your honesty. I love I really do. And the fact that you said you were more interested or more focused on the relationship rather than their soul. Oh my God. That's powerful right there. That's powerful right there. Yolanda, you were bobbing your head as well. You want to speak to this challenge of dating in the church? And and by the way, for those of you who are in the church and you're trying to date, I'm going to come to I'm going to speak up for you because I don't want everybody to think that you shouldn't date people in the church, right? So I'm going to come and clean that up here in just a minute. Yolanda, speak to us.
And I'm not saying that because I'm sure there's someone in the church that, there are some people in the church that are, that would be equally yoked, but it's just the ones that I've dated. They were kind of judgmental of others. And that kind of like threw me off. That kind of like threw me off. And strangely, and it is strangely, just like Marika said, I was able to connect with the ones outside of the church that I've dated so far than I was in the church, than the ones that I've dated so far in the church.
Okay.
Because I've dated one guy and he was just so judgmental and it just drove me crazy. And he was judgmental of people, like outside of the church, and instead of like trying to wean them in, he was I just can't explain it.
Yeah.
Some of the things he was saying, it was just like going in one ear and out the other. I wasn't listening because it just kind of turned me away from him, turned me off from him.
I got you. All right. Chase,
But
I
I'm
see
not
your,
saying that there's not any in the church that, I just haven't ran into them yet.
right. And we're gonna speak to that here in just a minute. Chase, go ahead.
I would say, I guess I can only give one perspective because I've never actually dated anybody in the church. I think that, obviously the bigger part of me would have liked to do that, have that experience, especially coming off of a non-dating hiatus, for a number of years. But I think I have not heard really great things about it, and just from my perspective, I don't know what the disconnect is with certain individuals. I'm not sure, and I'm not here to go there one way or another. That's everyone has their own, right to how they want to date, who they want to date. But I would say that it, as Danielle said, the person that I dated, I wanted to know his soul. Like, I'm trying to get you in so you can know who God is. Now, I realized in that process that everybody's relationship with God is their own. We can encourage, till we blue in the face. We can do a lot of different things. Now, you have to decide what you want to deal with in this life. And I've met couples, one in the church, and once the spouse is not in the church. So I've seen so many different variations of this that it's very difficult to just pinpoint it as everybody needs to marry somebody in the church. Now I think ideally, like I said, it's a great idea because I just feel like that's what it should be, I guess, because that's just because of when you align yourselves with the same understanding and you want to follow the same, then it just works on that level. But in every other aspect of your life, it may not work, because you are still an individual. But I just think that it is a case by case basis. I think that we have to. Sometimes you gotta. I'm gonna use this phrase, kiss a lot of frogs until the prince comes. So. So you just have to kind of navigate what it is that you want, and you can't be thinking about. I think one of the things is because we think that other people are not going to be happy if you decide to marry somebody outside the church, especially if you're very devoted to the church. So it's always these little ideas that's floating back and forth in our heads because you think somebody's going to be disappointed, or you think this or that, or whatever the case may be. But the truth remains, it's really your decision, and you have to live with it. And you have to keep praying if that person's not in the church for their soul, because obviously you love them and you want them to be saved because you know what comes at the end of this life. So, but that doesn't mean, I'm not going to say it doesn't mean anything, but it is very difficult because they still have to make the decision for themselves. Right. So whether they equally yoked, unequally yoked, however, they still have to decide if they're going to follow Christ. And I can't base all of my life on somebody else's decision not to, if I am. So they would just have to know, this is what I'm doing. I would love for you to be there with me sitting in the pews and praising God together, obviously, yes. But if you decide that this is not for you, I can't make you, and I don't want you to do it for me because then it's not real. So, there's so many variations to it that you just got to be in tune with who you are, what you can feel like you can handle, and keep praying to God about it.
Yeah. So Chase, no.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, no, she's absolutely right, y'all. And I wanted to have this discussion because, y'all, it is deeper than that. I want to go back to something Danielle said, that perhaps, or maybe her experience or her listening to her friends or whatever, this idea of fraudulent members, Lord have mercy, y'all. Y'all better put that one in your notes, because y'all heard the old song, everybody talking about heaven ain't going now. Y'all remember that old Negro spiritual? Everybody talking about heaven ain't going there, right?
That's true.
And there are some reasons. There are some reasons for that. There are folks who, look, y'all. If you wanna, let me tell you what I've noticed about I call there are some men that I call trolls. And these guys, oh my gosh, they are really good at what they do. And I'm going to use this as an example, and then I'm going to bring it back to the church. So I know some men who go to the grocery store not to pick up groceries. Malika got it. I can only read the faces that I see y'all's video, right? There are some guys that only go to the grocery store, but they're not going to pick up groceries. They're going to pick up women.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Now let me flip it back to the church. There are some guys who know that there are some women. There are a lot of women that attend church. So if you want to pick up a woman, just like going to the grocery store, because you know most women do grocery shopping, that's where you're gonna go. There are some guys who are trolls, and they will go to the church because they know that they can see some women. Okay. Now let me clean this up, because we got some guys on the call whom I know for a fact are not, to use Danielle's term, fraudulent. I know these guys. Okay. I know they're not fraudulent. And so for that reason, I got to speak up for them, because they didn't chime in for themselves. I'm waiting on them to do that. But there are some guys, and by the way, guys, you all can have the same experience finding these fraudulent women who are sitting up in there like they, all of that. And they are just as fraudulent as the guys that were referenced. So just because somebody is in the church doesn't mean that they are there because they love the Lord. William or Jamal, either of you want to speak? And before y'all do, Lynetta Dixon, tell me where you're from.
From Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Chattanooga.
East 3rd Street, Church of Christ.
East 3rd Street, Church of Christ. Look at Yolanda.
John Taylor.
I'm sorry?
John Taylor.
Okay. Well, Lynetta, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
You've been listening. What you got to say about it, Lynetta?
I'm just listening and learning. I have a lot to say, but I'm listening and learning. It's my first time joining you all, so
okay.
Yes.
All right. Now, Lynetta, I might give you a pass this week, but if you come back, I ain't gonna stand for that just listening, right? You hear what I'm saying?
Okay. I understand. I understand.
Right, but feel free to jump in anytime you get ready, because this is not about me. This is about y'all. William or Jamal, y'all want to speak, or Jalen even. I see my son Jalen down there. Y'all want to speak to this idea of what the lady said? These guys are fake. They're fraudulent.
So all you ladies had to go through that, but it's not all of us.
Wow, what a powerful statement. Did y'all hear that? Y'all, that was good, William. Hold on, dude, high five.
Now let me ask, was it said that all the women said that all the men are like that?
No.
Just making sure. Okay.
No. There are different reasons why I'm sure some have not had good experiences dating guys that are in the church, right? And it doesn't mean that, I mean, just because she said it doesn't mean that every guy that they dated that was in the church was fraudulent. No, absolutely not. Because, y'all, look, this idea of being unequally yoked, as I said, is deeper than just their belief in God or whatever. You can be in the church, dating someone, married to someone in the church, as where did he go? Elvin said, but still unequally yoked. Y'all,
Yeah.
my ex-wife was from a little small country town in Louisiana. Anyway, I just did that for Malika. But she couldn't handle the, she was uncomfortable. Let me put it this way. She was uncomfortable with that whole being out front. And I was a youth minister and then associate minister. And that was uncomfortable for her, right? So in that regard, we were unequally yoked. So, you know, it doesn't necessarily have to be, I guess my point is, you can be in the church, y'all can both be members, could be members for life, and still be unequally yoked. One could really enjoy ministry, the other can't, right? I've heard spouses say, why you always got to go up to that church? But they're committed to the Lord. But their problem is their spouse is spending too much time involved in ministry. Y'all get it? I mean, y'all understand?
Because you have to have that balance once, especially once you get married. You have to have that balance because your marriage is your ministry as well.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And y'all, God requires me, being a married man, to take care of home first. Y'all do recall from 1 Corinthians chapter 7, Paul says, those who are single care for the things that belong to the Lord. But those who are married, 1 Corinthians 7:32 and following, since you're writing there, Yolanda. But he says to those who are married, you care for the things of the world, how you may please your wife or how you may please your husband. That is my responsibility, because look, y'all, when I do that right, guess what? When God blesses us with children, the children are going to see what a beautiful marriage is supposed to be. They're going to be led to God because of our example. And let me speak to something that even Elvin said. He's got 3 couples that he knows who married people who were not members of the church, and they were converted. And y'all, let me tell you, let me read what Chris gave us. 1 Peter 3, likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husbands. If any obey not the word, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives, while they behold your chaste conversation coupled with fear. Okay, now what he says there, and we made this point a couple of weeks ago when we first started talking about this. Notice he says that if any obey not the word, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives. There is no guarantee that they're going to be won, but they may be. Okay, all you can do is live your life, right? And these 3 couples have found a way to make it work. But let me also speak to, oh man, it's 7:52. My gosh, time flies when you're having fun. 7:52. So let me also say this, that I have had people whose father refused to let their daughters marry a guy who was not a member of the church. And obviously these folks were in love with each other. And so in several cases that I know, the individual was baptized. Notice I didn't say was converted, was baptized. And it wasn't long before that individual stopped coming to church. An interesting phenomenon happened. The one who was strong, and that's why you see that picture behind me there, the one who was the strongest was the one that won the tug of war. The strong Christian wife stopped coming to church. No, you're not having technical difficulties. I paused there to get y'all's reaction. Yolanda looked like she want to say something. Come on, Yolanda.
Yeah, because that's what happened to me and my ex-husband. His uncle is the minister at 2nd Street Church of Christ here, and he, when he had his talk with us and everything, and he went ahead and he got baptized, and he came to church for a little while, but soon, not long after we were married, it just dwindled until it finally stopped. But I just, kept going, the kids kept going with me, his kids and everything. And we just kept going. And, I just believe he got married just because, he got baptized just because of what his uncle was saying about us, being married.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
want so I want to circle back to my earlier comments, and everything that's been discussed from that point forward has basically led back to why I said what I said, is because if an individual is in love with me, because I'm putting myself in it. If an individual is in love with me and not in love with God, then that's how you run into all of these things where you get the okey doke, or the person was in that infatuation stage where they loved God and the seed was planted, and then the cares of the world, over in Luke 8, when all of those different things come into play where that seed is removed. I think it's a good idea for all of us to level set to what God standards and desires for his people are. That should be our foundation all the time, not our own personal desires, not what we want, how we feel, what we think is best for us, because that's functioning according to the desires of the flesh. And if we're motivated by the flesh, that can lead us in directions that would get us in trouble. So that's why I said what I said, because we want to try to position ourselves to be in the best position to not only have a wonderful, beautiful marriage with someone that we love, but also have a beautiful marriage with Christ together. So looking at what God wants versus what we want is where we ought to start. When we are talking about how all of these marriages are failing, how it's better to marry somebody else that's not a Christian, and all of the things like that that could happen, that could potentially happen. We have to try to focus on what God still wants and trust him in that process, because when we start getting closer to what we want, as I stated before, then we move away from what God wants, because his thoughts are not our thoughts, neither his ways are our ways. So trying to marry that to how we would be happy in a relationship, keeping God in it is our best report, because then we get miserable, we get upset, we get angry because this person presented themselves to be one way. When it gets to a situation where the spouse considers going to worship every first day of the week is too much, not just ministries. Oh, why you got to go every Sunday? How come you just can't go twice a month? Then we run into that situation, James, as you just mentioned. Oh, okay, well, I'll stop. I'll only go 3 Sundays. Okay, now it's just 2 Sundays. Okay, now it's just once. Now they're not going anymore. We know that the enemy will work, 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 because if a person is not motivated, in this level of intimate relationship, if they're not motivated by God, they're motivated by the enemy. That's just a default. That's just what it is. The enemy can use that individual, and you're strong, you're trying to fight, but there's still that potential that individual will draw you, because as your thing says, the strongest will win in the end.
okay. Now, Celeste, I so appreciate that, and I thank you for bringing us back. Y'all, let me tell you. Let me tell you why. Well, you know what? I hate to give answers. But doggone it, it's 7:58. Why do you think, y'all think about this week? Why do you think the Holy Spirit led Peter to write that we be not unequally yoked? Why do you think that the Holy Spirit dictated that so that Peter would record that? Y'all write that down. Think about that this week. Because I got to tell you, it is the crux of the matter for a successful marriage. It is the crux of the matter for a successful relationship. And oh my gosh, y'all, Celeste just mentioned another partner in the relationship. Yeah, I said just what y'all heard me right.
Yes,
Celeste,
should be three. Should be three.
Celeste mentioned another partner in the relationship, and I'm not talking about where your spouse went and messed with somebody else. That's not the partner I'm talking about. I'm talking about, to use her word, the enemy.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, y'all, let me tell you. Look, you can be equally yoked and things are wonderful for a while. But the enemy is going to work against it. In fact, he's been working against marriage ever since God instituted marriage. And that enemy, even though you all go into a relationship and a marriage where you all are equally yoked, the enemy is going to work against you, which is, by the way, one of the main, oh, shut up, James, don't give the answer. Okay, y'all think about, why did Peter write to not be unequally yoked? Y'all start there and think about the enemy, y'all, because he's a major factor in whatever relationship. I don't care if it's marriage or not, your job, your children, your friends, your parents, your siblings. That enemy is a major factor in every relationship that you have. Okay, y'all, does that make sense? Somebody tell me real quick. It's 8 o'clock, but y'all tell me if that makes sense, and if y'all gonna work on this idea of why Peter said not to be unequally yoked.
I think Celeste hit it on the head.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Well said.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I'm looking forward. By the way, let me just again say to our prodigal sons and daughters, all of y'all, I'm not gonna call your name again because I don't want to embarrass you. I am elated that you all joined us back. I'm so, and I know y'all got other calls y'all get on. I'm just thankful that y'all made it back, and y'all have contributed tremendously tonight. Elvin, it's good to see you, sir. Welcome to our call. I hope that you have been impressed so that you'll come back. Lynetta, thank you for joining. And Alicia, okay, it's fine that you joined us.
You need to repent.
Leave my sister alone.
Every week I gotta give a dig to Alicia. She's she and William are my right hand and left hand. I'm not gonna tell y'all which one is on which side, but anyway, I just appreciate all of you all. Sister Marlene, thank you for kicking us off again. I love you all. I love you all, and I'm excited. By the way, y'all, I mentioned him, but I'm excited to see our son Jalen on the call. He's a young man, and he's really young. He's still in college, y'all, but he's trying to get some wisdom and knowledge. So y'all pray for him and encourage him every chance you get. And I'm gonna sign off. I'm looking forward to next week. I'll post this up next week since nobody shared anything too sensitive. And I'll even post up the picture of the poll so y'all can chew on that some more. God bless you all. God keep you all. See you next week.
Good night.
Thank
Good night.
you.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.